How many push-ups can you do, he asks. And Hegseth apparently said he did 5 sets of 47 this morning, so he passed that one.
And of course, the key to understanding that is that Trump will be the 47th president. So that was just another way of, if you like, underlining what he is Trump's man.
Donald Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary, the former Fox News host and military veteran Pete Hegseth, has faced a 4-hour confirmation hearing by the Senate Armed Services Committee. He was challenged over previous comments made about women in the military and dismissed questions over reports of his heavy drinking, calling them a smear campaign. Pete Hegseth set out what he hopes to do in the Pentagon.
You are a misogynist. Not only that, you are a Christian Zionist and support the war in Gaza by the Zionists.
It's an honor to come before this committee today as President Donald Trump's nominee for the office of Secretary of Defense. 2 months ago, 77 million Americans gave President Trump a powerful mandate for change, to put America first, at home and abroad. I want to thank President Trump for his faith in me and his selfless leadership for our republic. The troops have no better commander-in-chief than Donald Trump.
For the record.
Yes, sir.
Will you cooperate and provide?
As I've said to many of you in private meetings, when President Trump chose me for this position, the primary charge he gave me was to bring the warrior culture back to the Department of Defense. He, like me, wants a Pentagon laser-focused on lethality, meritocracy, warfighting, accountability, and readiness.
Members of the security force will remove members.
The Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength. And in pursuing these America First national security goals will remain patriotically apolitical and stridently constitutional. Unlike the current administration, politics should play no part in military matters. We are not Republicans. We are not Democrats. We are American warriors. Retired generals, academics, or defense contractor executives. I've led troops in combat. I've been on patrol for days. I've pulled the trigger downrange, heard bullets whiz by, flex-cuffed insurgents, called in close air support, led medevacs, dodged IEDs, pulled out dead bodies, and knelt before a battlefield cross. This is not academic for me. This is my life. I led then, and I will lead now. For me, or with me. I know what I've sworn an oath to the Constitution before, and if confirmed, I will proudly do it again. This time, for the most important deployment of my life. I pledge to be a faithful partner to this committee, taking input and respecting oversight. We share the same goals: a ready, lethal military, the health and well-being of our troops, and a strong and secure America. Thank you for the time, and I look forward to your questions.
Admittedly, this nomination is unconventional. The nominee is unconventional. Just like that New York developer who rode down the escalator in 2015 to announce his candidacy for president. That may be what makes Mr. Hegseth an excellent choice to improve this unacceptable status quo that I just described. So now I turn to my friend and colleague, Ranking Member Reed, for his opening remarks.
Mr. Hegseth, you are the 9th nominee for Secretary of Defense that I've had the honor to consider as a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. I have voted in favor of all your predecessors, including those in the first Trump administration. Unfortunately, You lack the character and composure and competence to hold the position of Secretary of Defense. Thank you.
Nominee Lloyd Austin, a good and honorable man, received 97 votes.
Well, David Charter is the Times assistant US editor. Good evening to you, David.
Good evening, Carol from Washington, D.C.
This was clearly a pretty lively hearing, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was an early coordinated effort by some protesters, but it was dealt with very quickly by the Capitol Police, who bodily lifted the protesters and bustled them out of the room pretty very, very fast indeed. It was designed to put Pete Hegseth off during his opening statement, and it didn't work. He got through his opening statement as he wanted. And it went pretty much as we expected, Carol, really, in as much as there are 14 Republican members of the committee who gave him quite friendly questions, and there were 13 Democrats on the committee who were rather hostile and really trying to probe his character, especially as regards his comments about women, as you mentioned in the opening.
Yeah, his comments about women, some claims of a sexual assault, some reports of his drinking. How did he cope with all of that?
Well, his attitude was to remain pretty calm and not actually answer the most hostile and aggressive questioning. For example, Senator Mark Kelly from Nevada, he was asking him to say true or false. Were you heavy drinking on this occasion? And then he set out several occasions where allegations have been made about Hegseth having to either be escorted out or helped out of various situations because he's had too much to drink, which he didn't rise to the bait and say true or false. He simply said those are anonymous smears every time he was asked, which won't satisfy Democrats. The newest member of the committee, Alyssa Slotkin, another Democrat, asked him if he would follow illegal orders from the president. And Hegseth basically said, I don't accept the premise of your question that Donald Trump would give illegal orders. She said she was just asking about if any president was to give illegal orders, should the defense secretary follow it, and that he stuck by his guns, no pun intended, to say that to basically avoid the question that has came up several times because a previous defense secretary under Trump refused to follow Trump's orders to fire on civilian demonstrators outside the White House.
And there are some quite serious questions, aren't there, though, for Pete Hegseth over his lack of experience for taking on such a role. Does it look as though he's going to get through, that he's going to take on the job?
Yeah, that was a major theme of most of the Democrats who questioned him because he'd never been above the rank of major, and he has run a couple of voluntary veterans organizations, but none of them bigger than a couple of hundred people. And of course, there's nearly 3 million people, if you include all the uniformed and civilian employees of the Defense Department. But I think he did enough, Carol, because the key swing vote on the committee was thought to be Senator Joni Ernst from Iowa, who had expressed a lot of misgivings in December about Hegseth's remarks about not wanting women in combat frontline roles. They've since had a number of meetings, and you could tell by the tone of Joni Ernst's questions that she's pretty much on board now. And when she asked him at the end of her section if he would be prepared to appoint a new person at the ministry to oversee issues of sexual harassment, etc., he said, yes, I would, as we have discussed. And that seemed to me to indicate that that her concerns had been ironed out even before the hearing.
And it seems he was able to answer one of the key questions from Tim Sheehy, a Republican from Montana. As you say, this was a committee that divided along party lines. How many push-ups can you do, Sheehy asks. And Hegseth apparently said he did 5 sets of 47 this morning, so he passed that one.
And of course, the key to understanding that is that Trump will be the 47th president. So that was just another way of, if you like, underlining what he is, Trump's man.
Yeah, and gosh, what a different political system there is there in the United States. Great to have you with us, David Charter, the Times assistant US editor. Thanks a lot, David.